So this is Pilates class number 1. I'm going to be teaching exactly how I do normally in classes, however we are in my living room. So apologies if you hear the dog first of all. We're going to go back to the beginning of our teaching, starting with some gentle stretches, then we're going to review the Pilates fundamentals, and then we'll go into our usual exercises and then follow up with some stretching right at the beginning. So initially I'm just going to stand back a little bit just so you can see me on the camera. We're going to start off with some nice shoulder rolls. So before we start, we just want to set up in the correct position. So pop your feet together and then you're going to pop your toes out and then your heels out. Softly bend those knees and relax the shoulders. Open the collarbones nice and wide and just tucking your chin slightly as if you were holding a peach. Then just pop your hands onto your hips and you're just going to rotate backwards and forwards nice and slowly. If you imagine it's a bit like a bucket of water and you're just tipping that water out the back of the bucket and out the front of the bucket. Now what you want to do is we want to reach that middle level. So if you find the two extremes, so tilting the pelvis all the way back and then tilting the pelvis all the way forward, then just find the middle ground, and that's your pelvis just sat in a nice neutral position. From here you need to draw up through your pelvic floor. So if you imagine you're trying to stop going to the toilet halfway through, really drawing up from here, squeezing nicely. Then what you want to do is just relax those ribs. When we open these collarbones, we tend to flare ribs slightly. So you want to just bring them back down. Imagine you're trying to push against the wall. So it's instead of like this, it's drawing them back down, okay? So in this nice position here, relax those ribs and just do some nice shoulder rolls. We're going to do 10 in one position, trying to make those shoulders as big as possible. As we've all been sat at desks on the sofa, watching numerous amounts of telly. So you really want to start waking up the body, giving it a nice good stretch. When you've done 10 or so in one direction, you're now going to do 10 into the other direction. Really nice and big circles. Keeping them knees nice and soft and that pelvis in a neutral position. Okay, when you've done 10, next what we're going to do is reach both arms up into the sky. And just ever so slightly, we're just going to pull up with our left arm, bringing it up as if you were going to touch a button on the ceiling. Return to a neutral, and then reach up with the other side, and back to the middle. Reach up with the left, and back to the middle, and reach up with the right. And what you'll notice, you'll have a good stretch through here. So we're just going to do 8 on each side, nice and slowly. So you'll notice that not a lot of movement comes from the hips. It all comes from opening up the ribs and stretching through this muscle, your latissimus dorsi here, really opening it up. Keep those knees nice and soft with that pelvis in that neutral position. So nice and alternate, 8 on each side. You'll start to feel your body warm up a little bit now as well. So 2 more on each side. Reach up as if to touch a button. And up. Good. So now we're just going to wake up our legs a little bit. So I want you to go into a wide base squat. So some people call this a plie squat, a sumo squat. So slight wide stance, and then I want you to turn your toes out just at a 45-degree angle. Now same principles as keeping those collarbones nice and wide, the ribs nice and relaxed, chin slightly tucked with a peach, and that pelvis in neutral. Now the aim is to get your knees over your second toe. So just practice a few squats first of all, really thinking about that pelvis. So imagine you have a barrel here or one of those exercise balls, and when you squat you're going to push your knees out and then back up. So you don't want your knees coming in, it needs to be a squat based outwards and back up. So we're going to do 8 of these, arms nice and wide, really think about that pelvis neutral. and then it's 8 squats, and back up. Really think about drawing up that pelvic floor. You may have a few clicks and creaks as you do this. And really think about opening up those knees, really get them over those toes. Good. And back up. 3 more. I tend to lose count, so I will probably just make up the numbers as we go. And 1 more, just for luck. Okay, now I want you to hold the squat position, and what we're going to do is reach up the left arm, move our weight onto the right, and stretch. Trying to keep a nice long line through here. Return to the squat position. Transfer your weight over to the left leg. Nice and stretched. And return. Stretch to the right side. Try and elongate that arm as much as you can, keeping in a nice straight line. And to this side. Really stretch through. Imagine you're trying to touch the button on this side. And back to the other side. So we're going to do 3 more. Legs should be burning a little bit. Are you still working on keeping those knees over those toes? 1 more on either side. And stretch. So you're going to come back into your standing position. Just shake your legs out a little bit. Okay, so in this position, start again. Let's sort out our beginning posture. So toes out, heels out, knees nice and soft. Hands onto our hips. Open up those collarbones, relax those ribs. So tilt your pelvis again. Imagine that water bucket tilting back and forward. Just loosen up that lower spine. Good. Now find that middle ground. Relax the arms. So what I want you to do is reach both arms up. Then you're going to bring the left arm round towards the right. Let your arms fall. And then you're going to slowly roll back up, maintaining that pelvis in a neutral position. So, arms up, right arm sweeps towards the left, rotate round, and then roll yourself up. Nice and slowly. So, arms up, left arm comes round to the right, you sweep round into this position, and then just imagine you're rolling each vertebra up one at a time. Nice and slow. So we're going to do 2 more on either side. Arms up, sweep the right over towards the left, and then bring yourself up. So things should be waking up, it should be a little bit warmer. After a week of isolation, you should all be feeling probably a little stiff, so this is a great way to wake everything up. And 1 more on this side. So now we're just going to do a couple of roll downs. So still maintaining that pelvis neutral, collarbones nice and wide. Pop your hands onto the front of your legs, and you're going to slowly, by tucking your chin down, slowly roll yourself down just as far as you can. This is a good way to see how those hamstrings are feeling, what length you have in them. Just as far as you can. You can bend the knees slightly just to help. Hold that position for 2 seconds, and then slowly roll yourself back up. Try and be aware of where you feel all your tightness. These are things we can work on. More than happy for you to send me messages if there's certain things that you want to work on while you're off. We can change classes, adapt them. I've got plenty of time on my hands, so I can do whatever you want to work on. So just one more roll down, and this is going to bring us down onto our mat and lying on our backs. So what you want to do is have your mat lengthways. Now we tend to normally use the 1-inch Pilates pillows, but you can use, if you don't have anything like this at home, you can roll up a towel, a small cushion, anything. The idea with these videos is you can do everything at home, so just use any equipment that you have around. But yeah, a rolled up pillow seems to work the best with these. So you're going to pop that just at the end, just while we practice getting into the right position. So onto the floor, pop your knees together, your toes together. Then same as standing, you're going to pop your toes out and then your heels out. So you should have a gap between your knees. Open those collarbones as wide as possible, and you'll notice your ribs are probably flaring upwards. So you want to draw them back down into the mat. Tuck your chin slightly, imagine you're holding that piece of fruit just here, just gives you a nice elongated spine. And then you're going to pop your hands just onto your hips. Same principle, just rock that hips back and forward as far as you can. Just get some movement into that spine. So when you're ready, just find the middle, and you'll find you'll have a slight gap underneath your back here, but these bones at the front should be nice and level. You should be able to balance the tea tray along here, and it'll be nice and steady. Then just bring your fingertips just where the knobbly bits of your hips are, and just bring them slightly inwards. Now if you're not sure about engaging your muscles that you have here, as you draw up your pelvic floor and your pelvis is in neutral, you should just feel those muscles ever so slightly flicker, and that proves that you've got them engaged. So if you're ever not sure, just come back to this position and just retest. So at this moment in time, you're in the correct Pilates starting position. So for our first exercise, you need to remove anything under your head. So just pop it to one side, because we'll need them for later. So we're going to start off with a pelvic bridge level 1. So in this position, nice and slowly, what you want to do is rock your pelvis backwards, try and peel one vertebra up at a time, keeping nice and still, up to a nice comfortable level, hold, and then slowly start to peel back down. Return to that neutral position, and again, rock backwards, bring up as far as you can, and back down. Now if you find your hamstrings are kicking in a little bit, just bring those heels a little bit closer towards your bottom, and that should help. The idea is to maintain all of your control through here. So tilt your pelvis, bring it all the way up, hold, and lower. So we're going to do 6 more. Keep going. Now if you find that your knees are wobbling a little bit, what you can use is either a pillow. If you have a bigger Pilates pillow, you're welcome to use that, or a towel, anything you've got to hand. Pop that in between your knees, and you can just apply a bit of pressure towards there. So same again, roll up to the top and hold, and back down. Now if we're going to add some breathing into it, you want to inhale to prepare, exhale as you bring yourself up. You're going to inhale and hold, and then exhale on the return. Inhale to prepare, exhale to move upwards, inhale and hold, and exhale to return. So just 3 more. Inhale to prepare, exhale and lift, inhale and hold, and then exhale to return. So 2 more. Should start to feel that spine waking up, feeling nice and warm. Really try and maintain here, and back down. So as you tilt through your pelvis, this should stay nice and still. Imagine you have a glass of champagne across here. You wouldn't want the tray to tilt. Keep it nice and steady. And back down. And last one. And back down. Okay, remove anything that you have in here. Just bring your right leg up towards your chest and just give it a nice squeeze. And then pop down, and now the left. So we want our small pillows back again, or a rolled up towel, whatever you have to hand at home. Pop that underneath here. Now it's very important when you have this pillow here to just tuck that chin in between. Imagine a tennis ball or anything round, just here, just to elongate that neck, and it takes the pressure off when we do the exercise. So we're going to go into a hip twist level 1. So starting position, knees together, toes together. Bring your toes out and your heels out. Make sure that pelvis is in neutral. If you need to do a few rocks just to get into the right position, take this time just to set yourself up correctly. Always remember the pelvic floor. We always seem to forget the pelvic floor. So imagine that there's no toilet in sight and you need to hold it until you get to one. So really draw up through and really hold and keep it nice and tense. So hip twist level 1 is all about disassociation. We're going to be able to move the right leg without our lower back engaging. So we'll start with the right leg. Your left leg has to stay completely still. You are going to just drift out the right leg just to a 45-degree angle and then bring back. So pelvis should be engaged. You should be drawing up through that pelvic floor. Nothing should be moving except from your hip joint. And back up. So we're going to do 10 on the right side. I always tend to imagine that I have a glass of Prosecco balancing on the left knee. We do not want that to wobble. You don't know if Prosecco will go out of the shops. Therefore, you need to maintain the steadiness of the left leg. The right leg is the only one moving. There should be no rotation through your spine at all coming from this area here. As society, we tend to get a bit lazy with our movements, and usual hip movements, we tend to recruit other muscles and our lower back. The idea of this is we're retraining to use our bodies correctly and just using the hip for the movement rather than anything else. Really think about pushing those ribs back down into the mat. Now if we're going to add some breathing in, it's inhale to prepare. Exhale and float that leg out to the side. Inhale and hold, and then exhale as you bring it back up. Inhale to prepare. Exhale and drift that leg outwards. Inhale and hold, and then exhale and bring it back up. Now I've lost count again, so we're just going to do 3 more. Inhale, exhale and float out. Inhale and hold, and then exhale and bring. 2 more to go. Float outwards, keeping that right leg nice and still. Now if you're not sure if that leg is moving about, you can use a towel, or if you've got one of these resistance bands at home, you can wrap it around one leg, and then as you move the opposite leg, you can maintain that other leg, keeping it nice and still. So that's just something if you find that that leg is moving. So we should be all finished on that side. So just bring that leg up again and just give it a nice good squeeze. Okay, dropping it down. So we're going to do the same now onto the left leg. Really maintaining that posture. So is your pelvis in neutral with those collarbones wide for us to sink those ribs into the mat. So keeping the right leg as still as possible, you're going to drift the left leg out to 45 degrees. You can have your hands open with a slight cross, or you can relax them down to your side, or if you're not sure whether your ribs and you're engaged correctly, you can rest them sort of on your abdomen just to be aware of what's happening. Now you always have one hip that is slightly weaker than the other. Myself, my left one is terrible compared to my right. So as I do this movement, it's a bit more like a cogwheel. I don't have that smooth hip movement. That's because my right leg is my strongest. What with being a hockey player, I always lead with the right leg. So for me, I probably would suggest I'm going to pop this around my leg, around the one that shouldn't be moving, just so I'm aware that that left leg is doing all the movement. It's just a good little bit of feedback. As I said, if you don't have these resistance bands at home, something like a scarf, skipping rope, a towel, a tie, I guess, could work. You'd be amazed what people have been finding fitness-wise in their loft since this isolation. So we're going to do 5 more. Same with the breathing. It's inhale at the top, exhale to drift that leg out, inhale and hold, and then exhale as you bring it back up. So just a couple more. If you find that you've got the hang of it with that leg, you can take the guide away and then just give a couple of goes without it. Okay, 3 more to go. Inhale at the top, exhale and drift that leg out, and back. Drift out, and back up. So when you're all finished, bring both of your knees up towards your chest. You're going to put your big toes together, place your hands on your knees, and you're going to draw circles. So we're going to do 5 in one direction. Keep those big toes together. Just do some nice wide hip movements. When you've done 5 that way, do the reverse. Really wakening up those hips. Good. So you're going to come and lie onto your right hand side. Now you still need your rolled up towel or your pillow. Now you can either fold them in half depending on how it feels on your neck. So I'm going to come down slightly. So you're going to extend the right arm, pop the pillow here. Now it's a little bit different trying this set up in a side lying position. So immediately we all tend to extend our backs, flare our ribs, and all control goes out the window with our pelvis. So we need to set up correctly. Now the best way I find is if you put your feet flat against the edge of the mat and your bottom. So your legs should be in sort of a bit of a 90-degree bend. Then what you want to do, you can still practice your pelvic tilts just on a side lying position. So tilt back and forward until you find that middle ground. Now to add a little bit extra with your side lying positions, we're going to take this top hip and we're going to draw it towards that sofa. So it will create a small little hole just here. So really think about this leg here and really push it back. Now drop those ribs back into that position, okay? Now with your hand, top hand, you can either balance it here if you find that you're a little bit rocking, or if you want to make it slightly harder, you can bring it up onto your hip. But I'd probably suggest starting in this position. Okay, so we're going to extend that bottom leg, maintaining the gap here. So really think about pulling that down. I'm not here to be able to pull you all like I tend to do in class. So I'm leaving it up to you to make sure that that little cupcake that's under there does not get squished. So keeping your knee in a 90-degree bend, you're going to just bring it forward to 90 degrees. Then you're going to drift it back so it's in line with the other leg. And then drift forward. And drift backwards. So once again, we're working on those glutes and those hips. Really keeping it still. So my knee should not bend anymore. It's all coming from my hip. I always imagine if you've got a paintbrush on your toe and you're trying to draw with the paintbrush. So really maintaining through the core. Bring that leg just as far as comfortable and backwards. Draw forward and backwards. Now if you're not sure if you set up in the correct position, just bring your legs back. Really think about drawing that hip, relax those ribs and engage that pelvis as much as possible. Extend the back leg and then restart. Good. Now if you find that you're doing well, give a couple a go holding here. So it's inhale to start, exhale to drift, inhale and hold, and then exhale and bring back. Inhale and hold, exhale move, inhale hold, and then exhale to drop. Okay, when you've done your 8, just bring that leg forward and you can just give it a bit of a rub because you will find that your glutes burn ever so slightly. So we're just going to do a couple in the next level. So this is side kick level 2. So same position, but now we're going to extend both legs. Really think about that gap and drawing that pelvis, really bringing and engaging through here. So you're going to bring the top leg and you're going to bend and you're going to move it forward. Then you're going to flick the foot and then you're going to bring it back. Bend the ankle, drift forward, extend the foot and bring back. So we're just going to do 5 of these. So you don't have to come to that 45-degree angle. I'm not that flexible. So let's just see how that feels. Waking up that ankle joint and using the foot. Good. 3 more. So it should feel a bit burny through here now. And 1 more, just fill up. Good. Same again, just bring that leg forward. Give it a good roll. So now we're going to roll onto our fronts. Now, same again, you still need the pillow or the towel. You're going to rest it here. You can rest onto your forearms, or some people like to keep their hands out to the back and in this position. So I will demonstrate first. This is called swimming level 1. So you're going to hold in this position here. Now, same again, you've got to get that pelvis neutral. So it's about tucking underneath. You should be creating a little hole in between those knobbly bits of your hips. There should be a little gap between the mat and those bony parts of your hips. Really try and get those ribs nice and relaxed and draw up through your pelvis. If you're doing it correctly, you will find that your glutes engage. So in this position, all you're going to do is lift up the left leg nice and straight. So it's just a lift and extend and down. Lift and down. Now you will see there is absolutely nothing moving here. It's all coming from my glutes here. And down. So we're going to do 10 on the left. So engage the glutes, lift up and down and lift. So it's not this, which is where all your pelvic control goes. Tuck that pelvis in, engage the glutes, lift up. Got to get those hamstrings working and those glutes working, because we're probably sat on them quite a lot at the moment. And lift. I've lost count again, so we'll do 3 more. And last one. Good. And just relax everything. So we're going to do the same on the right side now. So exactly the same. Really relax through your neck. Tuck that pelvis, really tilt backwards. So if you really tilt backwards, you create that small hole in between where your hip bones are and the mat. Really draw up through the pelvic floor. This is a really good way to practice. So with the right leg, extend and lift. Imagine with your toes, you'll try to press a button that's on the wall. And down. And lift. And down. And lift. And down. So we're going to do 8 more. You don't have to lift that leg very far. And the knee's not bending, so it's not that, it's leg straight up. So it's not bend knee up, it's leg straight and lift. You should really feel your glutes and your hamstrings working here. It should mainly be coming from your glute muscles. And lift. Keep going. Last 2. Okay, and relax. So now we're going to do alternate. So we're slowly starting to build up what basically looks like swimming. So exactly the same position. Draw that pelvis underneath. Engage those glutes. So you're going to start with the left leg. Really think about switching on those glute muscles. So lift up with the left. As you release the left, you come down and lift the right. Nice and controlled. The hip should be nice and steady. Nothing should be moving. So we're going to try and do 10 on either side. Should be getting a little burn through the glutes, the thighs possibly if you're drawing up and up. Three more. Is your pelvis in neutral? You're drawing up through your pelvic floor. Just keep going. Good. Last one on either side. Good. And relax. So you're going to come up onto all fours. Pop your big toes together. Knees spread apart. You're going to sit back onto your heels and you're going to stretch forward. Just hold that position. Take some nice deep breaths. Really try and reach forward, but try and keep your bottom as close to your heels as you can. If you're struggling with your flexibility slightly, cushion here and reach forward. Just get a nice stretch. So, keeping those heels on your bottom, you're going to move over to the left and just really stretch. Hold and then come to the right side and stretch. Good. So we're going to repeat our side kicks on the other side. So bring your pillow onto the other side. Towel, fold in half. Extend that arm into this position. Bring yourself to the back of the mat. Your feet should be at the back of the mat as well as your back. So tilt your pelvis back and forward. Find that neutral position. Then draw this hip. We're now going to go towards the telly. Draw it up. You should have a nice little gap in this position here. Relax those ribs down. Imagine you're trying to press your back against the wall. Extend that bottom leg. Keep that top leg at 90 degrees. Rest the hand in front. Drift that leg forward and backwards. This is side kick level 1. Keeping that knee at 90 degrees. So you're going to do 10 of these. Continue. So if you're not sure if that knee is coming out of that 90-degree bend, you can use a ball or a little cushion or whatever anyone's got around the house. Tuck it behind your knee and then drift back and forward. That way, if you go out of 90, the ball falls out. So it's a good little way to practice. So always maintain that correct position. You should be on number 5 by now, so we'll do 5 more. As I said, you probably will find one side easier than the other. Definitely easier for me on this side. If you think that you're coping quite well with the balance and maintaining that hold here, pop the hand onto the hip and now drift back and forward. Should be a nice burn through your glutes at this point. Back and forward. 2 more. Keep that 90 degrees. And then when you finish, bring that leg forward and just give it a good old rub. Working those glutes a lot today. So let's practice level 2. So nice elongated body. Draw that top hip really out towards whatever you've got towards your toes. Bring that pelvis in, relax those ribs. Balance yourself here. Bend the foot. Drift. And then extend. So imagine a bit like a paintbrush. You're drawing a nice line. Good. And drift. Okay. 5 more. Really keep trying to maintain this area here. Two more. Good. And then bring that leg in front. So we're going to go back onto our backs now. And you need to have a rolled up towel, a ball, or if you do have a Pilates block, you can use one of those as well. So we're going to go into our hip twist level 2. So you're going to lie on your back with your pillow or towel underneath your head. Now we're just going to make sure that we're set up in the correct position. So you're going to rock your pelvis back and forward. Just get that neutral pelvis. Relax those ribs down, open those collarbones nice and wide. Pop your block, pillow, bowl, whatever you've got, in between your knees. And you're going to have your arms spread out nice and wide. So we're going to go to the left first. And what you will find is your feet will stack together. So you're going to drift your legs over to the left. Your feet should then stack together. And what you do with your head is you look the opposite way. Now all the control comes through here. So you're going to use your core to draw those legs back up into the starting position. Then you drift over to the right hand side, looking over to the left. So it's a bit like a corkscrew movement. Now your legs probably won't reach the floor. Really draw up through here and into the left side. It's a nice spinal twist to do as well if you've been sat in your desk. And twist back up. So we're just going to keep that going. If you think you're pressing through your arms to bring yourself back up, just take the arms off and relax them onto your stomach. Just see if you can still bring those legs up using these muscles here. Always make sure that you're rotating the neck. If you have any neck problems, you can keep it in a neutral position. Nice and slow. So it's a nice good one to finish with at the end of the day if you've been sat at those desks, those makeshift desks that you've all made at home. So we're going to do 2 more on either side. And over. So if you add the breathing in as well, it's exactly the same. It's inhale to prepare, exhale and drift your legs over, inhale to hold, and exhale to bring yourself back up. Good. When you're all done, just take that block away, stretch those legs out and reach your arms over the top. Keeping that pelvis in neutral, don't extend it, bring it all back, and just do a nice good body stretch. Just hold that position. So coming up with your knees bent, you're going to cross your right leg over your left. Now this part of your ankle should be onto your thigh. Now stretching, everyone is at a different level, so I'll talk you through some easy levels, and then if you feel you can progress, feel free. At this point, this hip, we need to just open it up, so just apply a little bit of pressure through the leg. Now if this is it for you today, that's absolutely fine. Just hold that position. If you think you can stretch it a little bit more, you're going to lift this left leg and you're going to loop through and hold. If this is a bit too much, you can use a towel, wrap around here and hold. So we're just going to hold this position. So you get a nice stretch through your right side on your glutes. We've worked them a lot today, so we've just got to stretch them out. So we're going to hold this for about 20 seconds or so. Really stretch it out. And return. So we're going to repeat on the other side. So you're going to bring your left leg up, this part of your ankle onto your thigh, and bring towards you. So say if this is too much for you today, just stay in this position and open up through your hip. But if you can, bring it up. As I said, you can use a towel and just bring towards you. You will find one hip is tighter than the other. And just try and relax, take some nice deep breaths and really try and stretch through those glute muscles that you've worked on today. And you've done your 20 seconds. Return your legs down one at a time. Stretch those legs out. Maintain that pelvic control and stretch forward. Good. Now bend your knees. Now we're just going to bring ourselves into a sitting position. So just grab one leg and just rock yourself forward. So I'm going to come and sit facing you for this one. So we're going to sit like this. If you have a ball handy, you can use a ball. If not, you can just walk with your fingers. And you're just going to stretch forward just as far as you can. Nice, good stretch. As I said, if you don't have a ball, you can just walk your fingers forward. And just hold. Really stretch forward. Walk yourself back up. Now what I want you to do is cross your legs the other way. Feels a little bit unfamiliar, but you're just going to stretch forward again. Good. And walk yourself up. Now you're going to stretch your legs out as much as you can. You're going to bend the right leg over the left, maintaining a nice tall posture. Left hand, right leg, right arm, rotate behind, and just a nice twist. You can apply a bit of pressure to this leg as well, if you like. Try and bring yourself up nice and tall, try not to slump. Bring yourself up nice and tall. Straighten that leg out. We'll repeat on the other side. So bend the left over the right, so the right hand on the left knee, and then you rotate. nice deep breaths, really try and relax. Good. And extend forward. So reach up to the ceiling and just bend forward as far as you can. See how far away you are from your toes. As I mentioned before, I'm not flexible whatsoever. So relax those shoulders and just grab where you can and just hold that position. So you don't want to be hunched like this, it's just a nice relaxed. And we can see us during this isolation, however long it's going to go on for. We'll see how far we can get to. My aim is to be able to touch my toes by the end of it. Good, and stretch up again and towards your toes. Relax those shoulders. Good. So now we're going to come into a cross-legged position. Bring yourself up nice and tall. So we're going to reach our right arm up, keeping that right bottom cheek onto the mat. You're going to drift that left arm and you're going to extend. So you don't want to be coming forward, it's just an upright position. Really, you'll find a good old stretch through this area. If you can, keep your arm straight. I've had surgery this side, so this arm doesn't quite do what it's meant to, but try and stretch it as much as you can. That right bum cheek should still be on the mat. And then sweep forward and bring yourself up. Repeat on the other side. So it's left arm up nice and straight. Draw it. Oh, I can move a lot better this side. If you can bend that right elbow as long as that left bum cheek is still on the floor. Really try and stretch, and we're just going to do it once again on each side. So right arm up, drift over. Oh, so much stiffer this side. Just try and stretch. Roll forward. Stretch that arm up. Good. And back up. Okay, from this position we're just going to stand ourselves up and come into a standing position. So, same again, toes out, heels out. Get that pelvis in that correct position, in that neutral. Hands on top of your thighs, and you're just going to slowly roll yourself down. Let's see if we can reach a little bit further. You can soften those knees if it's a bit easier. Just hold that position and draw yourself back up. So we're just going to do 3 of those. And back down. Things should feel a little bit more awake. And back up. And roll down again. And back up. So we're just going to go back to our twists. So we're going to arms up, keep that pelvis in neutral. Drift the right arm towards the left and just sweep round. And then draw yourself back up. Same again, left arm up, right arm up. Drop the left round towards the right. And up. 2 more. Arms up, left arm towards, right arm towards the left, and rotate. My mind's fuzzled now. And I'm sure left and right looks different on the video, so. And this side. one more, either side. Arms up, left arm towards the right. And slowly roll yourself back up. So just roll those shoulders. Nice big circles. And finally, just one more big roll. Relax those arms down, set yourself in the correct position. Take a deep breath in and out. Good, and your first at-home Pilates class is finished. I hope you enjoyed it. Obviously we've made the best of what we can as we're all at home, so just use whatever equipment you have. If you have any questions at all, you can comment on my Facebook page or email me on sophiehunt@gmail.com, and hopefully we should bring in you at least 1 or 2 videos a week. Let me know how you get on, and as I say, if you have any questions, just give me a message. We'll see you next time.